Howdy! Welcome to Aspire Mountain Academy. I'm Professor Curtis, your instructor for this course in Introductory Statistics. In less than 10 minutes, this video describes how to conduct hypothesis testing on a mean value when you do know the population standard deviation. Let's get started. So, when we do know what the population standard deviation is, we're going to use a test that involves the standard normal distribution. Calculate a z-score for our test statistic. In reality, it's very rare to test a claim about an unknown population mean while the population standard deviation is somehow known. We talked about this before. How do you get the population standard deviation and not the mean? It would seem like if you know the population standard deviation, we should also know the mean value as well, because it's kind of hard to calculate the one without the other. But there are those rare instances where you get it, so that's why we have this. The procedure is essentially the same as when we don't know the population standard deviation, but we're just going to use a z-score instead of a t-score. And so here's our equation for the z-score. You see it looks really familiar with the expression that we were using earlier for the t-score. And that's because it is practically the same thing. We're just calling it a z-score instead of a t-score. Anywho, this is what we use. Notice this formula is essentially the same, but there's one minor difference, and this is what makes it a z-score. We're actually using the population standard deviation instead of the sample standard deviation, because we actually do know what it is, and so we don't have to estimate it with the sample. We can just take the population parameter and put that into our formula. So going back to our radiation emissions example that we saw in the previous mini lecture, if we know that the standard deviation for the population is 0.48 watts per kilogram, then that knowledge isn't going to change our null and alternative hypotheses, but it is going to change the values we're going to compare to resolve our hypothesis test. So we've got the same hypotheses, but we have a new test statistic. So now we have to recalculate it using this expression here, and we're going to put in the numbers that we have. So the 0.938 is the same, the 1 is the same, the 11 is the same, the only difference is the 0.48. And so we punch this expression out on our calculator, and we get a new test statistic, negative 0.428. Not radically different than what we saw before, but hey, it's a different number. And now a new test statistic means we have a new p-value. So in the normal calculator there in StatCrunch, we can actually calculate that p-value. Remember, the test statistic is the boundary for the area under the curve that is the p-value. We have a left-tailed test, so the region we're looking for is on the left. And so that's the less than or equal to here. And I put in my test statistic, and then out comes the area to the left of that test statistic, which is my p-value, and that's going to give me 0.3343. And now I have the p-value. Okay, we're using the student normal distribution instead of the t-distribution, so again we have a new critical value to use for comparison, but either way you see we're going to come out with, we're going to get the same conclusion we got last time. So we can compare the p-value with the significance level alpha, 5%, we're well outside the region of rejection. Same thing with the test statistic. Our test statistic, negative 0.428. Our left-tailed region of rejection is bounded at negative 1.645. So definitely outside that region of rejection. Either way, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. And of course that means we're going to reach the same conclusion that we did before. There is not sufficient evidence to support the claim that, the claim is what it is. So we're going to get the same thing that we got before. But, we have to calculate different numbers because we actually know what the population standard deviation is. That brings us to the end of this mini lecture. I hope you found it helpful. You can find more mini lectures for this and other courses at AspireMountainAcademy.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.